Hey, it's Jason Creel. I want to talk to you a little bit about equipment, and I have a couple of videos in mind, but I think it's a extremely opinionated topic, but something that's very important when you go to start your lawn business is what kind of equipment you buy, and even as you grow into your lawn business. But wanted to particularly talk about starting out a lawn business, what kind of equipment to buy. Now, people ask me a lot of times, what mower should I buy? What I try to put out content about string trimmers and backpack blowers, and I'm very open about what I use, but wanted to talk a little bit more about the theory behind that, and then we can get into specifics on what to buy. And the reason being, and why this is important, is because if we were simply, let's say we were all millionaires and we just wanted the best lawn care setup out there, well, then we'd have a totally different conversation about what lawn care equipment to buy. But instead, we're people trying to make a living in the lawn care industry, and so that changes the whole perspective on what kind of lawn care equipment to buy, because especially if you're starting out. And so here's what I mean by this. When you're in business for yourself, there's a couple of factors to consider. I mean, a lot of factors actually, but for the equipment, you need something that's going to get the job done, okay, as quickly and efficiently and productive time as possible. But at the same time, you got to think about finances. How much money do I have? Am I making any money? And so that's the whole problem. And so what I see people do, and I've told people this, if you want to go buy a zero-turn mower, don't go buy a brand new one. Go buy one from the other guy who bought a brand new one and whose business never got off the ground, and now he's trying to sell it to get back some of the money he spent on his brand new mower. And so I would rarely tell somebody who's just starting out in the lawn care business to go buy a brand new mower. And I don't do that myself. For instance, when I moved where I live now, this is my second year in this area, I didn't buy a brand new mower. I didn't buy this mower. I bought this one last year, but it wasn't brand new either. And so I'll give you my theory behind buying mowers, and then it varies. I'm saying there's not a specific answer for everybody, but just the principle behind it. So when you're starting out in a business, I want to make a profit the first year. Now, I understand there's a lot of cost up front. If you have to buy a truck, you maybe have to buy a trailer, whatever equipment that's needed, is expensive. And then you're just trying to get your business going. So you're trying to establish some sort of market presence and start gaining customers so that you can start bringing in income. But what happens is, if you put a real financial burden on your company and on yourself when you start off, then that can really hinder you from gaining customers. And so personally, I want to have some money freed up to market my business and to grow the business, and not all tied up in equipment. It doesn't make sense to me if I have 10 customers to have a $10,000 lawnmower. Okay, that's a simple way to put it. So what I did, last year when I started here, I went and bought a used Toro mower that was, a 44-inch older Toro that was, I think I paid $2,400 or $2,500, something like that. And it was fine. It was not, I knew it wasn't the greatest mower I'd ever seen. It was older, but it did fine for me getting started in what I was doing. Now, had a heavy emphasis on weed control and fertilization, and I've spent a lot more money on that side of the business. But for mowing, I wanted to get something that could do the work but not go broke. I mean, could I go down to the dealership and they finance me on a brand new 60-inch, $10,000 or $12,000 mower? Of course they would, and I can make payments at 0% interest, but I'm thinking, starting off, how many yards do you have to cut before you even pay off your mower? That to me financially just doesn't make sense. So now the difference is, say you're established, you have this big business and you have tons of money coming in, well then at that point it might make sense. You can write it off on your taxes. And if you're just wealthy and can do it, then, you know, go ahead. I'm just saying the financial burden that sometimes people place on themselves can really hinder their business. So I sold that Toro and I bought this mower. This is a 52-inch Hustler that's, again, older, but it has, the hour meter shows less than 400 hours on it. When I bought it, it was from a homeowner. Looked just, you know, extremely clean, like he took very good care of it. So, and it's been a great mower this year. So I've upgraded. I paid $2,850 for this mower. This is another point I wanted to bring up, is that people ask about, you know, when they say, hey, what kind of mower should I buy? I try to understand what their budget is. So for me, for $3,000 to $4,000 range, you can get a pretty good commercial zero-turn mower, you know, used obviously, but by looking on Craigslist or wherever, you can find a pretty good deal on something. I would much rather do that to buy something like this for $2,850, which I think I got a good deal on this mower, but I've got a 52-inch, you know, pretty good commercial mower. I'm not saying there's not better ones out there. I would much rather buy this than to go buy a brand new residential model zero-turn mower from a big box store. There's just going to be absolutely no comparison in the power and the performance of this machine versus a brand new residential model. They're just not built the same. So it's not going to hold up the same, doesn't have the power, not have the speed, and ultimately this is going to make you a lot more money. So that's one thing. But you see, having a $2,800 mower, even starting out in business, you can be in the black money-wise pretty quick with a mower like that. Now, if I had a $10,000 mower, I mean, that's a lot of grass you have to cut to even pay off the mower. So I think, my opinion is, you start off with this and then you build as your income starts increasing, then you can upgrade your equipment. Now, if I'm talking about handheld equipment, to me, and I feel like I made this mistake when I first started out, I was on a tight budget. I remember I bought a $3,800 zero-turn mower that had 200-something hours. That was great. That thing worked great. I kept it for years. I was trying to save money and bought used handheld equipment. I don't think that makes sense. Looking back, I don't do that now. So if you need a blower, a string trimmer, hedge trimmers, in my opinion, it's worth just buying brand new, because the money you're going to save on it, let's say you go buy a brand new string trimmer for $300 or $350. Well, you might get that same one used for $150 to $200, you know, or maybe if it's in bad shape, you get it for $100. But the point is, you're saving, you know, probably at most $200 on a piece of equipment that you're going to be using every day for hours. Where the difference is, on a mower, you're saving thousands of dollars. So to me, just buy your handheld equipment brand new, and your zero turn, get a used, you know, lowest hours you can afford. I mean, I'm not saying go buy just a clunker that's going to be in the shop, because that obviously is a problem. But and then as your business grows, you can upgrade your equipment. So anyway, I hope this helps. Hope this makes sense. I like, for beginners, a 48-inch or 52-inch or 54, you know, something kind of that mid-size mower that is big enough to handle some smaller commercial properties or a larger residential, but also it's not too big where you can't, you know, put it on somebody's yard. You know, a 60-inch obviously is bigger and better on a big yard, but it may limit you on some residential. So I kind of stay in that mid-range. You know, to me, it doesn't make sense to go out and buy, when you're starting out, when finances are a big deal, you don't want to go buy one mower for every situation. You know, I think that's a mistake people make. They say, well, I've got a few yards with a small backyard, so I need to get a 36-inch walk behind. I've got some customers want it bagged, so I'm gonna go buy me a walker mower. You know, it's just like, get started, get in the black, start making money, and then we'll look at, you know, how to maximize your equipment and maximize your profits by, you know, how can I service more customers. But to go buy all this equipment you know, for a handful of customers, and you have to understand, you may lose some code. You may just say, hey, you know, right now I don't bag yards, I mulch. Be happy to mulch it, but if you're interested in bagging it, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to provide service for you at this point. You know, unless you have a bagging mower and you want to do that. But I'm just saying it's okay to say that and to lose that 10% of customers or whatever it is that want their yard bagged while you get your business established, because like I said, you don't want to continue putting financial burdens on your company until you start making money and get the customer. So that's what I tell people. What fixes a lot of problems in your business is making money. Okay, so you got to make money. You got to get customers. You need the customers rolling in. You need to fill up your schedule. You need to just have the money rolling in, and then, hey, when something happens to your mower, it breaks, it's not nearly as big a deal as when you're just stretched financially. And so don't stretch yourself financially until you get the money rolling in, and then go buy whatever equipment you want. Hope that helps. Thanks.